please visit my website, programtokill.net. Go to plans and prices for even more exclusive information. You can also support me now on Patreon. Add me on TikTok. And leave a like and comment.
People were coming up missing here in Milwaukee. So the news broke and said that they found where the people were. They found some bodies in this building, and he was saying that we think your brother might be one of them. But the knock on the door, the Red Cross called me and told me to pack up mine and my children's things. We had an emergency at home. That's how I found out. And they sent us here. That's how I found out. So, yeah.
So at the time, how did the media coverage and public attention affect you and your family during the time?
Well, it was two separate things. Like I was telling you, my mother, was living here with her children, her grown children. She had put out a missing persons report on Earl because he left home and it was warm that day in April. And they didn't ever find him. So when the story broke, the detectives went to her house and said, we think we know where your son is. Can you give us his dental records? Go to the dentist and find his dental records. And so they came back, as they told her before. If we don't come back, it wasn't him. If we come back, it's him. They came back. They didn't have to say nothing. She knew. So I still wasn't there when this was going on. So the media and people were all coming to my mother's place, and they didn't know how to handle it. Plus, they were feeling guilty because they kind of initiated him being out of that house. So, yeah, nobody knows the whole story. It's an inside personal story. When I tell the media, they cross that out and don't want to tell that part. They want to make it for their stuff, but they don't never tell. That's why I stopped doing it, because nobody tells what I tell them anyway. They just take bits and pieces. It leads up to what happened, how he got a hold of, how he came in contact with Jeffrey Dahmer. It's because of my mother, my sister, and my brother wasn't in it this time. But it's always I don't know. A lot of the families didn't get along when the trial was going on. It was a hot mess. They were fighting each other. Y'all don't have a clue what all happened. It was more mess going on with the families than it was with Jeffrey. You don't have a clue. You don't have a clue. I'm telling you. I've been trying to put this book out forever. It keeps growing and growing. Like, oh. Yeah. I'm going to be about the only one that tells the whole truth. The whole truth. All of it that I know. You know, people like to make it look nice and sweet, but it wasn't so. So.
So what advice would you give to other families who've experienced sudden and violent loss like your family did?
Well, the number one thing, I don't care who they are, what their lifestyle is. You still love them. You don't mistreat them. You don't kick them out of the house for whatever reason. But what I was told, now, I personally don't think my brother was gay. like I'm telling you the story behind how he ran across Jeffrey Dahmer, which was because he got kicked out of the house over some money. They're money hungry and don't do nothing with. Well, my sister's a gambler, my brother's a crackhead, so yeah, my mother stood there and watched the whole thing go down, which I don't understand it. How can you carry somebody for 9 months, give birth to them, and just let your other children, because you're afraid of them, act as if they're the parent? That's crazy to me. And she stood there and watched the whole thing go down. And then, okay, I just started in the middle of something, so you're not knowing where I'm coming from. But yeah, it was very dysfunctional home they lived in. And then, of course, it was, like I said, my brother and sister were on drugs, and they ran the house. As a matter of fact, when we came to Milwaukee, when the Red Cross sent us here, they had eviction notice right then, and it was embarrassment. Oh, what we gonna do? We don't want the people to know. Yeah, they had to move. I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Earl had just turned 19. He just turned 19. And he had gotten into some trouble. I'm gonna pick up where I left off at. He had gotten into some trouble here in Milwaukee. I was living in Cleveland then. And he and this boy got into a fight, or young man or whatever. And Earl ended up stabbing the boy, and he paralyzed him. And the police was looking for him. So my mother brings him to me in Cleveland to hide him out. So he was ready to come back to Milwaukee. I let him come back. My sister, I guess she wanted him to give her some marijuana or money or something, and he wouldn't. And she put him out. She put the boy out. He didn't have nowhere to go, but he had some friends. His friends and their parents stayed upstairs from where they were living. So he went up there, and the children's mother let him stay up there. Let me back up. Okay. After Earl killed the boy, stabbed the boy, my sister wanted him to give her some weed or marijuana. He told her no. So she threatened to call the police on him and let the police know where he was. So my mother gets him and bring him to me in Cleveland. Mind you, I didn't know. I just thought she brought him to visit. I didn't know all this was going on. So he stayed with us for what, a couple months or so. He was ready to come back home. I let him come back home. He didn't last 4 months. She put him out. So he went and stayed upstairs with the people. So the lady needed to give him a key to go and get made. So he went to the key shop. I think this was on a Sunday. He went to the key shop. There's a porn bookstore next to the key shop. He walked past there. Jeffrey Dahmer approaches him. Hi, how would you like to make extra money doing odd jobs? My brother just got put out. Yeah. I said, yeah. He said, okay, you have to come back with me to my apartment for more details. His apartment was up the street. He didn't have nothing to do, nowhere to go. Still had the key in his pocket when they found his remains. So my brother go in the key shop and get the key made and come back out and follow Jeffrey Dahmer home, and that was the end of that. That's how he ran into Jeffrey Dahmer.
I never knew that. I've heard that he went to go make a key, but I never really heard the details beyond that.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's bits and pieces. No, it goes together. It's a puzzle. Nobody knows the whole truth. Nobody knows, and I know my folks do not want me to write this book. They praying that I don't write this book. They're praying that I don't write this book. Yeah. The world didn't know he had 2 children. They're grown with their own children. 2 girls. Yeah. They said they didn't want to have nothing to do with it. They couldn't stand to hear about it. They couldn't deal with it. So I did give them an opportunity to, I let the world know who they were. And then they was all trying to get them to come on the shows and talk, and they didn't want to. So I had to let the world know that if you want to talk to them, you have to go through me. Because you didn't even know nothing about them until I told you, and they don't want to have nothing to do with it.
That's understandable.
Yeah. And then the family got mad about me letting the world know that Earl had children, because they were thinking, like before, whatever funds they got went to my mother. So they was banking on some money being generated, and then it was going to go to my mother, and they have control of her. I'm telling the truth. So they were mad at me about that too. Yeah. It's all about money. It's all about money. Yeah. And then he had the nerve to be feeding people, feeding the neighbors' people. And then, the stench in the building was horrific. But if you're around a bunch of drug addicts, he picked that place on purpose, because when he first came to Milwaukee, he was living in this little township called West Dallas with his grandmother. He didn't want that. He had something he wanted to do. So I don't know if Jeffrey Dahmer was prejudiced or all of that into one. But you can control it. That's the part that messed me up. You can control it. Yes, you can control it in that courtroom, and you controlled it when you went to work. Yeah. And Miss Cleveland, the one that was helping counteract, sent them some phones, the Asian boy that took them back. She passed too. She's no longer with us either. They say she did, but then this other lady got on there and told the story that her family was driving down the street and saw the naked boy and got out the car, and they was actually having an argument with Jeffrey Dahmer about that boy before the police got there. So it's a bunch of lies we're told. So yes, I miss my brother, and he wasn't a good person either. He did some things he knew better and didn't have any. See, just like this. Shortly before this happened and he moved back there, don't you know my brother stole a nun's purse? See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? You got to tell the truth too. If I say something like that, people gonna believe me. That was wrong. She shouldn't have did that. That was her brother. but it's the truth. He stole a nun's purse. Yeah, I just had somebody tell me, I was reading some comments on TikTok. They just said, you know, they try to be sarcastic and funny and want you to get upset. He said, your brother got what he deserved. That's what he said. And I said to myself, I didn't comment. I said to myself, he really did. Yeah, I can laugh about it because I know our relationship we had. Because if he had been alive still, and I know he did that, I would have told him about himself. He would have laughed at first, but he would have thought about it. He would have thought about it. Yeah.